welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into a sensitive yet essential topic, understanding when women may give a green signal for intimacy through touch. Let's explore this with respect, education, and awareness. Let's get started. Segment 1. Physical touch plays a vital role in human connection, but recognizing when it may signal romantic or intimate interest can be tricky. For women, touch can be both a form of comfort and a subtle indicator of attraction. However, context is everything. A light touch on the arm during conversation might suggest comfort or closeness. But repeated, intentional touches, like brushing your shoulder while laughing or initiating casual physical proximity, may hint at deeper interest. Importantly, these signals should never be taken as definitive permission for intimacy. Instead, they can be cues that a woman feels safe and open to connection. Always combine these observations with clear, respectful communication to ensure mutual understanding. Consent, both verbal and nonverbal, must be mutual and continuous. Segment 2. In social psychology, touch is considered a high-impact, nonverbal cue. Women who are interested may engage in touches that are sustained slightly longer than normal or that seem purposeful rather than accidental. For instance, she might touch your hand during storytelling or brush something off your jacket when it's not necessary. These behaviors can suggest she's comfortable enough to enter your personal space, which can be an indicator of trust and potential intimacy. That said, these actions must be understood within the broader context of her behavior, tone, and verbal communication. One key mistake is assuming all friendly touches are flirtatious. That's why it's crucial to pay attention to patterns and not isolated actions. A single touch means little without follow-up cues, so never act solely on physical contact. It's a piece of the puzzle, not the whole picture. Segment 3. Eye contact paired with touch often amplifies the message. When a woman maintains eye contact while touching your arm, brushing your hand, or engaging in light physical gestures, she could be signaling emotional and physical interest. However, we must not interpret this as a green light for intimacy unless other affirming signals are present. Is she leaning in when you talk? Is her body language open? Does she smile frequently and mirror your actions? These are all complementary indicators that might support the idea she's comfortable with you. Understanding female touch in this way is about reading a combination of subtle cues. Emotional intimacy often precedes physical intimacy, and that's something worth recognizing. The more consistent the gestures and signals, the clearer the message may become. Still, never assume. A respectful conversation about boundaries is always the most important step. Segment 4. Proximity and body orientation also play a significant role. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she may reduce the physical space between you. This closeness often invites opportunities for gentle, mutual touch. If she sits close enough that your legs or arms occasionally brush and she doesn't pull away, it might be a positive sign. Additionally, if her body is consistently angled toward you rather than away, she's likely engaged and open. Combine that with reciprocal physical touches, like her responding positively when you briefly touch her hand or shoulder, and you may be observing signs of mutual comfort and interest. But here's the key. These cues should always be considered part of a larger conversation, not an invitation. Clear verbal communication remains essential. Subtle body language can be misread, and making assumptions can lead to discomfort or broken trust. Keep sensitivity and awareness as your guiding principles. Segment 5. Laughter often opens the door to light, spontaneous touch. During shared moments of humor, a woman might reach out playfully, touch your arm, or lean in closely. While this can indicate comfort and even attraction, the context is critical. Is she equally engaged when not laughing? Does she initiate touch during serious or personal conversations too? Playful touches, while warm, may still be platonic. When mixed with prolonged eye contact, mirroring, and consistent proximity, however, they may suggest deeper interest. That said, assumptions based on touch alone can be misleading. Social habits, cultural norms, and personality all influence how freely someone uses physical touch. Extroverts may be more tactile, while introverts might show comfort in other ways. A touch during laughter is often best understood as a signal of emotional comfort, an invitation to build rapport, not necessarily intimacy. Continue reading cues thoughtfully. Segment 6. One important sign is whether a woman initiates touch without any external reason. For example, if she touches your back while passing behind you or gently adjusts your collar, these are often signals of personal interest and care. Unlike touch prompted by necessity, e.g., guiding someone through a crowd, these actions often don't serve any logistical purpose. Instead, they may express subtle affection or desire for closeness. Still, it's crucial to compare these actions over time. If such touches are consistent and paired with positive verbal affirmations or flirtation, they might be part of a green signal. But if they're isolated and not backed up with other cues, it may just be her friendly or nurturing nature. Every woman expresses interest differently, so understanding individual comfort levels is vital. Always remember, consistency and context matter more than isolated moments of touch. Segment 7. Mirroring is another behavioral sign tied closely to touch and intimacy. When a woman mirrors your posture, gestures, or even breathing rhythm, it's often an unconscious way of building rapport. If she also begins to match your level of touch, for example, lightly touching your hand when you touch hers, this could signal growing comfort and mutual attraction. Mirroring is subtle but powerful. It communicates harmony, attention, and often emotional synchronization. A touch in this context, especially if repeated or gradually escalating, like moving from a tap on the arm to a hand resting longer, may be an indirect green light. However, timing and environment matter. A bar setting may encourage more casual physicality than, say, a coffee shop. Watch for emotional consistency too. If touch is paired with genuine smiles and warm conversation, the connection may be deepening. But again, dialogue is your safest and clearest path forward. Segment 8. Touch during vulnerable moments is another strong cue. If a woman reaches out to hold your hand, rest her head on your shoulder, or touch your arm during a heartfelt conversation, it may signal a deeper bond. Vulnerability often brings out the need for emotional and physical closeness. In these moments, her touch may be more meaningful than casual gestures. She could be expressing trust, seeking reassurance, or even inviting intimacy in a nonverbal way. But this depends heavily on the nature of your relationship. Are you already emotionally close? Has she shown other signs of romantic interest? Intimacy and emotional safety go hand in hand. Responding with respect, gentleness, and patience is key. If her touch feels hesitant or is quickly withdrawn, she may be unsure or testing comfort levels. Proceed slowly, always ensuring she feels seen, heard, and respected. Prioritize her pace and feelings. Segment 9. How a woman responds to your touch can offer valuable insight. If she leans into it, maintains eye contact, or reciprocates the gesture, that's often a good sign. For example, if you lightly touch her hand and she smiles or doesn't pull away, she might be comfortable with that level of contact. But if she stiffens, moves away, or avoids eye contact, that's a clear sign to back off. Touch should always be mutual, welcomed, and comfortable. It's also important to observe how her responses change over time. Initial shyness can give way to greater openness as trust builds. On the other hand, if her reactions remain reserved or uncertain, pushing forward is not appropriate. Mutual comfort is the foundation of any intimate interaction. Let her cues lead the pace and direction, and never interpret tolerance as consent. Respect is the ultimate green signal. Segment 10. Cultural and personal background greatly influence touch behavior. Some women come from cultures where physical touch is a normal part of daily communication. Hugging, patting, and touching arms during conversation. Others may view touch as highly personal and reserved for close relationships. Similarly, individual personality plays a big role. A tactile person might touch casually and frequently without romantic intent. This is why understanding her unique style and comfort zone is essential. Spend time observing how she interacts with others. Does she touch everyone in a similar way? Or is her behavior toward you noticeably different? If her touches are unique to your interactions and combined with other signs of affection or flirtation, they may be indicators of deeper interest. Still, always validate assumptions with conversation. The clearest, kindest path to intimacy is through open, respectful dialogue, not guesswork. Segment 11. Comfortable silence paired with casual touch is often an understated but powerful signal. If a woman sits beside you without feeling the need to fill every moment with words and casually rests her hand near or on yours, it could be a meaningful sign of emotional closeness. This quiet companionship, especially when accompanied by physical ease, often suggests trust and a desire to share space without pressure. This level of comfort usually develops over time and points to a deeper, more intimate connection. Yet again, even subtle forms of touch require mutual understanding. If you mirror her behavior and she responds positively, the intimacy may be mutual. But if she shifts away or seems distracted, she may be pulling back. Learning to sit with silence and observe these quiet signals is an art. It teaches you to value presence, not just words or obvious gestures. Segment 12. The neck, face, and hair are some of the most sensitive and personal areas when it comes to touch. If a woman allows or initiates touch in these zones, especially in a non-casual way, it may signify strong emotional and physical trust. For example, if she guides your hand to her cheek during a close moment or allows you to tuck her hair behind her ear, these are often signs of comfort and potential intimacy. But remember, these actions are significant and shouldn't be interpreted lightly. They usually follow a progression of trust building and emotional closeness. If she also responds warmly to your touches in these areas, with prolonged eye contact and emotional engagement, she may be signaling openness to deeper connection. Still, these touches demand utmost sensitivity. Always move slowly, with her reactions and comfort guiding every step. Enthusiastic consent is key. Segment 13. Late-night conversations often open doors to emotional vulnerability and sometimes physical closeness. If you find yourself talking to her late into the night, in person, on the phone, or via messages, and she shares deeply personal thoughts, emotions, or memories, pay attention to how she accompanies these disclosures. If paired with gentle touch, like resting her hand on yours or leaning her head on your shoulder, it might indicate she feels emotionally safe and perhaps interested in intimacy. However, late-night vulnerability is delicate. It's easy to misread tired affection as romantic intent. Always seek clarification if you're unsure. Ask how she feels, what she wants, or if she's comfortable. These late-hour moments can be genuine but should never be rushed. The desire for closeness must be mutual, grounded in understanding, and never assumed from ambience alone. Segment 14. How she reacts to touch in private versus public spaces can reveal a lot. Some women may feel freer to show affection in private, holding hands, sitting close, or touching your face gently, especially if they're still exploring the depth of their feelings or avoiding public scrutiny. Conversely, if she's equally or more affectionate in public, it might show strong confidence in the relationship. But notice if there's a stark difference. If she pulls away in public but is physically open in private, consider her comfort level with public displays or social norms. Neither reaction is inherently good or bad. It just tells you more about her preferences and boundaries. The key is to honor them. Any signals about intimacy through touch must be evaluated in both settings for a full understanding. And again, always lean into open conversation. Segment 15. Shared experiences often strengthen emotional bonds and can naturally lead to more frequent and meaningful touch. Whether it's working together on a project, traveling, or simply spending consistent time together, familiarity often breeds comfort. If she starts initiating touch more frequently in these contexts, resting her head on your shoulder during a movie, nudging you playfully while cooking together, or intertwining fingers during a walk, these may be signs of intimacy in bloom. Shared routines create a foundation for emotional safety, and touch becomes a language of affection. Still, this type of touch should evolve naturally. If it feels forced or staged, it may not be genuine. Trust the organic flow of connection. Let shared memories foster trust, and allow touch to arise as a reflection of that closeness. That's where true intimacy begins. Segment 16. Teasing, when mutual and respectful, can create playful tension that sometimes includes light touches. If she gently bumps into you, taps your arm when joking, or playfully pokes you while laughing, she may be trying to test comfort boundaries in a light-hearted way. This kind of touch, if consistent and increasingly personal, can be part of a flirting style that uses humor as a bonding tool. However, teasing must always remain kind and never cross into discomfort. Check whether her touch feels inviting or intrusive, whether her expressions are warm or guarded. Teasing is not a guaranteed signal of interest, but when paired with ongoing closeness, shared laughter, and attention to your comfort, it may reflect affection. Let the mood evolve naturally, but always keep your sensitivity radar on. What begins in jest can blossom into something more, if mutual respect is at the core. Segment 17. The duration of a hug can speak volumes. A brief, polite hug might indicate friendliness, but if she holds you for a few extra seconds, rests her head against your chest, or squeezes a little tighter before letting go, it may signify emotional intimacy. Women often use hugs to convey unspoken feelings, and extended hugs are frequently expressions of care, longing, or deeper connection. Notice what accompanies the hug. Is there eye contact afterward, a shy smile, or a gentle caress on the back? These little additions can be clues to emotional openness. Still, never assume intention purely from physical closeness. Ask yourself, is the emotional tone matching the physical gesture? If yes, you may be moving into a space of mutual affection. But always communicate before interpreting a hug as more than it is. Physical cues are best understood through shared understanding. Segment 18. Sometimes, her willingness to care for your physical well-being is expressed through gentle touch. For instance, she might clean something off your face, adjust your clothing, or touch your forehead to check if you feel warm. These nurturing gestures can go beyond friendliness, especially if they're accompanied by sustained eye contact, soft voice tone, or prolonged presence. Women who feel emotionally invested may use these caring touches as a quiet but strong expression of affection or attachment. But again, consider context. Is this her general nature, or is this behavior reserved for you? If she rarely extends such gestures to others but frequently does so with you, she may be signaling emotional readiness. A caring touch is powerful. Treat it with gratitude and curiosity, not assumption. Explore how it fits within your overall dynamic. Segment 19. When a woman begins initiating touches that resemble romantic gestures, like holding your hand without letting go, resting her head on your chest, or tracing your palm with her fingers, these may be clear signs of deeper interest. These touches often go beyond comfort into territory that signals emotional vulnerability and romantic desire. If her touches are increasingly affectionate and met with warm, inviting expressions, you may be witnessing her way of opening the door to intimacy. Still, pace is everything. Rushing intimacy can cause emotional imbalance or fear. Respond with equal care, warmth, and a steady sense of respect. Let the connection unfold gradually. Touch can say what words sometimes cannot, but only if both people feel secure and respected in every moment. Segment 20. Finally, the strongest green signal through touch is when it is paired with clear verbal communication. If a woman touches you tenderly and also expresses that she enjoys being close to you, trusts you, or feels something more, those words transform touch from ambiguous to meaningful. When verbal affirmation aligns with physical gestures, there's little room for misinterpretation. These are the most authentic indicators of intimacy. If she says she wants to be near you, feels safe in your arms, or enjoys your touch, take those words seriously. They provide a firm foundation for mutual respect and closeness. Always respond with open dialogue. Confirm her comfort, share your feelings, and let intimacy be a joint creation. True connection thrives on clarity and consent, both physical and verbal. Conclusion. Recognizing when a woman gives a green signal for intimacy through touch requires patience, respect, and emotional intelligence. There is no single gesture that universally confirms consent or interest. Instead, it's about observing consistent, positive, and intentional patterns, paired with ongoing communication. Whether it's a lingering touch, mutual proximity, or mirrored gestures, the key is always mutual comfort. Most importantly, verbal consent must guide any move toward intimacy. When both people feel safe, respected, and heard, real connection can flourish. Be sensitive, be aware, and always let her words and comfort lead. True intimacy is built, not assumed. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more thoughtful content on human behavior and relationships. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.